welcome once again to Plum Talks, the podcast where we talk about upcoming fashion trends and how to grow your e commerce brand. Today, we have with us an amazing fashion consultant right from Dubai, Leena Bansal. Leena, would you like to share a little bit about yourself?
Thanks, Natasha, for giving me this opportunity. So, Natasha, I have got a strong 25, 30 years background into fashion industry. So, after working with few big names as a fashion designer, I started my own fashion buying house in India, where I started working, producing for the exclusive designers who were just starting their fashion career and were looking for very niche, small quantity orders. Having worked with them for almost around 10 to 15 years, though that company is still working, I launched my next company, which was based on fashion brands consultation. I launched this company in 2016, and right now I'm supporting designers in terms of curating their brand strategy for their growth, for their go to market strategy, for their framing right vision, right goals as per the vision, and I become their advisor for the retail collaboration as well.
That's amazing. I'm sure our audience can already hear so much experience that you've got through this podcast. Thank you so much for that, Leena. Let's get started. Today's topic is how to launch and grow your fashion e-commerce brand in 2024. And after hearing Leena's experience, I don't think there is anybody better to talk about this. Shall we start, Leena? Talk about to talk a little bit about how to launch and grow your fashion e-commerce brand. So let's get started. But we're talking about for aspiring entrepreneurs with a general fashion passion. What steps do you think they should take to identify a specific and profitable niche for their e-commerce brand? After all, it all starts with a niche, right?
Yes, definitely. It all starts with a niche. But I always advise these designers that before framing for your niche, because most of the times we decide for the niche as per our own liking.
Mhm.
But what about our target customers? So, I advise the designer to start with the competitor, market research,
Mhm.
because that market research will provide them that which are the brands as per their niche are already existing in the market, what are the tools they are using, in which market they are, what are their price point, and what modes they are using to sell their products. It helps them a lot. So, after doing this basic research about your competitors at the initial stage, I advise them now is the time that you create your niche as per your own personal identity, because your brand is like your baby. So it cannot be different than your personality. If you are a sophisticated person, or you are a bit loud person, or you are a latest trendsetter, your brand should resonate with that, because this is you who is presenting the brand. So have the niche as per your own personality. It will help you later on when you are creating the story, when you are presenting the brand to the outside world. Also, one more important thing at the beginning stage, do little bit of competitor analysis. That competitor analysis will, it's like, it is you are studying other e-commerce brand,
Right.
and when you are studying other e-commerce brand, you will also come to know if I'm going into right direction. Are there already lot many existing? Should I, how I can move around my brand niche from those competitors?
Right. I really like the part where you mentioned about balance. What how I see it is that you were very clear about starting with a little bit of research about the niche that you should work in, and then adding in your personal touch as well. So creating a balance between what your audience want and what you want to create as well. I really like that advice. Moving on to what you mentioned about competitive analysis, can you mention how can they research competitive? How can they do the competitive analysis, and how can they research competitor saturation and validate the demand for their chosen niche?
You know, Natasha, I always give them very practical tools to do the competitor analysis.
Mhm.
Generally, people talk about do the survey, approach this company, that company, while this competitor analysis can be done at by sitting their home itself. Suppose you have decided that I want to launch a pret line. So first thing is start looking. Nowadays, everything is online. Every brand they find so many other ways to present their brand into the market. So I tell them to do the competitor analysis. First, try to figure out that where do you want to sell. Suppose I'm sitting in Dubai. So suppose you want to target to Middle East market. So in that case, to do the competitor analysis, figure out the multi-brand online stores already existing selling those type of products.
Mhm.
It will give you such a close idea to find out that which are the brands at what price point, what type of fabric line, what type of silhouette, what type of weather. So the product could be, maybe you are trying to launch sustainable product, or you are going to launch some wedding line or a pret line or a streetwear line. There could be any. So based on that, you will get so much of idea in terms of quality, in terms of fabric, in terms of price, in terms of budgeting, in terms of your profit margin, because competitor analysis is not required only for how to set up your niche. Also it helps you what type of price point, because most of the time what I'm noticing nowadays, so many brands end up doing wrong pricing, and then they start losing before when they launch. So they need to see what all to be added into the price point. So once they see, okay, I give you an example. Recently one of the brand, they approached me that, at that platform I saw so and so brands and they are selling at that price. I'm like, you are adding only your expenses and your costings. What about the platform they are approaching? So they also must be having some type of commission and all. So you need to find out. So we are doing competitor analysis into many areas. It is not only for your niche, it is not only for your USP, it is also that what type of silhouette, what type of look, what type of feel, what type of photo shoot, what type of collaborations. Because collaboration as well, they you will be able to see like, okay, their sales approach looks like they are collaborating with these influencers, or they are doing some TikTok videos, or they are collaborating with different stores, or they are engaging at different pop-ups. So it helps you in many ways. So
Yeah.
competitor analysis is the base before you launch your brand. I emphasize on this fact so much because I have seen the advantages of this.
That's amazing. And I think from what you have mentioned, competitive analysis is one of the most essential thing that you can do for your brand in order to stay
Usually.
competitive in the market and grow your brand as well. For that, I would like to tell you about a little bit about Plumfind. At Plumfind, we are also automating the entire process, specifically the things that you just mentioned, to track the prices of your competitors, to see what kind of fabric they're using, what kind of colors, sizes, and all the other things that are available on a competitor's site. We are helping them automate the entire process. So instead of going to each and every website of your competitor, you can just select the competitors that you want to track and get all those information in just a few clicks. So
Not only this, Natasha, I'll just add one more thing. It also helps you to notch up the latest trend. It will
exactly,
help you such a close idea of what are the latest trends going on and how I can move around that.
absolutely. You can also get an idea for latest trends.
Mhm.
Moving on, I would like you to share what are the most common mistakes, because I think if we learn about, from other people's mistakes, we can be 2 steps ahead of our own progress. So, what are the most common mistakes aspiring fashion e-commerce brand owners make in their early stage of development, so that you can help them, the people who want to start their own e-commerce brand, so they won't make the same mistakes in the future.
Most important thing, what I am seeing more and observing more and more with new budding designer, that they are underestimating the importance of branding.
Mhm.
How authentic is their story? That story, does it resonate with them? Does it resonate with the product line? Does it resonate with all the stakeholders? Nowadays, when I say stakeholders, like, it's not only you, it's also your employees, your supplier, your buyers, your customers. How authentic it seems to each and everybody. You have to bring that story to your brand so that you know, you can sell anything in the market as long as it seems authentic. It looks like what you are presenting to the market. We need that. So that need needs to be generated, and for that, when they decide to launch the brand, before that they have to have a proper strategy developed for the right branding. That how to approach to that market in such a way that their story and the customer story matches. Also, here again, I will say pricing. One more thing I want to add here. I'm noticing so many designers, they are spending such huge amount on their production. So the minute they decide to launch the particular line, they do not analyze that, that what type of financials and cash flows and budgeting we need to keep in mind. And they think, oh, that first line has to be like this, like that, and sampling, okay, no problem. And they spend before the launch, before they reach to the marketing strategy, huge amount on the production. And when the marketing material, when the time comes for the marketing to approach the market, that time they say, oh, we are short of budget.
Hmm.
So there are so many factors, and that's the reason I always say that before you decide to launch your brand, you have to keep three factors in the mind. Number one, uh, what type of brand you want to present to the market so that it resonate not only with you but with your target customer. Number two, what type of marketing strategy you want to adapt so that you approach to the right market. Number three, what type of financials at the moment you have, and how to divide it into all three or four stages, so that at least for 1 year till the revenue model is generated, you are in safe hands. You are not stuck that, oh, I need an investor at the moment, I'm not able to scale up.
Mhm. I really like how you mentioned these three factors, which are very essential in such a simple way. And the point where you mentioned about branding and how an e-commerce brand owner must make sure that competitive analysis and doing proper research about your niche is not enough if you're not putting enough storytelling into it and your target audience is not able to resonate with what you're making. Moving ahead, one topic that is always very crucial when we talk about e-commerce or fashion, that is sourcing. So what are different sourcing strategies for fashion e-commerce brand, considering factors like budget, as you already mentioned that it should be under their budget. So considering factors like budget, minimum order quantities, and ethical production.
Yes, Natasha, and this is such a key point for any brand success, because your suppliers are the one who are going to make you successful.
Right.
So finding the right supplier. Now here is a big question, because you are an emerging brand, and for an emerging brand, you cannot go for a production line of 20 pieces or 50 pieces per style. You have to make sure that your cash flow is not stuck with a huge inventory, because you do not know how long it is going to, what style is going to hit, wha- what type of sales strategy, what styles are being sold and not. So generally I advise that never approach. Number one, find a supplier who can provide you for a small quantity orders.
Mhm.
Now, how to find these suppliers? Either That's because we do not know what type of, you have to make the payment before you receive the shipment. So for that, it is very important. There has to be some reference. The supplier should come through a reference, or otherwise do some sort of reference check. What I also generally advise that attend a trade fair for the B2B, for the suppliers.
Mhm.
Attend that trade fair. In that trade fair, meet that supplier personally, build the relationship with her, see the collection he is presenting. You will all be you might meet somebody who is already using his services.
Right.
Now, Natasha, recently we are sitting in 2024, and in 2000 last 2 years, there is one more very easy mode into fashion industry has started, D2C.
Right.
So here we can approach this strategy if we are an exclusive brand. So generally, what brands do, they curate a capsule collection, and that capsule collection they present for B2B trade fairs or wherever, in pop-up or store, wherever they are approaching to, or onto their website. And then once they book the order, they present to the supplier.
Mhm.
But again, supplier has to have a capacity to, here price become is slightly challenging, because once you are presenting order for one piece, definitely it might not be so much of cost effective. But the plus point is that you are not, you are not stuck keeping the inventory in hold with you. And also it is easier to maintain the quality, because for one piece, definitely I can understand that your margin could be low,
Yeah.
but you are playing very safe. So D2C mode is also quite important. Otherwise, you can definitely have a small work unit place wherever you are based, and then have things in control, so that once you get the order, or maybe have a small quantity ready with you and then present it. So there are many ways for it, but please make sure that collection quality has to be maintained in a right price tag.
Right. I really like what you have mentioned in terms of referral and quality, because for budding entrepreneurs, for budding e-commerce brand owners, it's really important to understand these things, because if they do not have appropriate references, or there are problems wherein they don't know how to find the supplier, as you already mentioned that you can attend some trade fairs. These are some really good advices which you can take as a fashion e-commerce brand owner. Moving ahead, as we were talking about some effective strategies, so would you like to share some creative and cost effective strategies for building brand awareness and attracting new customer as a budding fashion e-commerce brand owner?
Yes, every stage is crucial. So this is another crucial stage for
Yeah.
our fashion design. You know, I'm slightly against of SEO, which generally most of the brands plan for when they are launching, because it is very long-term strategy and not very cost effective, because you need a huge budget for that. While I hugely believe into collaborations.
Mhm.
So also, along with collaboration, when you are launching your brand, you do not know that, which store to approach to, how to approach to the market. So what I advise to all my designers, begin with small pop-ups, collaborate with the stores when they are conducting small events, because here you are able to meet your direct end user.
Right.
You will be able to speak to them, you will be understand their mind in, so you'll be able to see whether they are liking the quality, whether they are liking the price, they are liking the fall, they are liking the look, the color palette, everything. So it will give you such clear and crisp idea about the product line in terms of everything. Now, when I talk about collaboration, maybe like you, there are so many other budding designers that they are also not able to spend huge amount on marketing.
Right.
So maybe you are a clothing brand. try to collaborate with a jewelry brand or a bag brand or any other accessory brand or lifestyle brand or makeup artist. Nowadays, like you, there are so many photographers, makeup artists, stylists, influencers, bloggers, media magazine. They are also new.
Mhm.
Start looking out for emerging entrepreneur related to your industry. Collaborate with them and work together. Pick up those platforms for your launch and then start boosting them on your social media pages. Your social media page is your brand image at the moment. How you are utilizing it, this is your way. But always you have to have a proper strategy. Here maybe you might not have a long term vision because you are just launching, so that's why create a monthly plan. And in that monthly plan you see that how you can boost your brand to reach to the target audience after analyzing your customers. So do the collaboration, attend pop-ups, attend different events in the store, collaborate with influencers, create different TikTok videos. Nowadays, earlier we had only Insta Shop, now we have TikTok Shop as well.
Yeah.
And TikTok shop, you can only start all these influencers once they have got, I think, 1 million or 2 million views or some 20-30,000 followers. So you can, directly approach to them. So there are a lot many platforms for this. So please, have somebody, some good expert or advisor with you while launching this entire business plan, because they can give you all these tips and tools.
Mhm. I'm totally fascinated by the collaboration strategy that you just mentioned. Because I agree that if a fashion brand owner, let's say they have just launched a collection and if they are dependent on SEO, which is totally a very long procedure to take to fulfill, and then there is so much competition out there for each and every keyword related to the same collection, it would be so hard and it would be so much time consuming. Then the best thing that could happen for a fashion e-commerce brand owner is to collaborate with other such people who are maybe serving the same audience but are not direct competitors. So if you are selling dresses, they might be into shoes, they might be into makeup. I really like that advice. Thank you so much, Lena. I think to wrap this all up, I just have a last question for you. Can you share a personal story or an experience from your journey as a fashion e-commerce consultant that highlights a valuable lesson for aspiring entrepreneurs?
Okay, my story, what part I should like to? Yes. So this is like something which is still so close to my heart. So when I had my fashion buying house, so this was my first startup. And in that fashion buying house, like, we decided to produce for only for the budding designers who are looking for very exclusive small quantity orders.
Mhm.
So, majorly we started getting orders from Scandinavia and from Australia because our niche was digital print, kaftans and kimonos and resort wear line.
Okay.
So, uh, you know, uh, when these designers, the way they used to present me order, I started getting very good feeling whether they are already established or they are just starting new and they do not have very crisp idea that what collection they should launch to, and they are just finding few Google images and they want us to curate something based on that. So I started giving them advices, that okay, like you are using this color palette, this type of print line, this type of silhouette, and this type of cleavage, and these things. And also, instead of this, would you like to do this? Or, there is no synergy, this and that. And they started liking it.
Okay.
So they said, oh, you are so professional, while I was doing it because if they get successful, I will be successful because I
Right.
need those orders continuously. So if I'm getting repeated order, it means they got successful and I provided them good quality production. But if I'm not getting repeated order, I started calling these people And when I started calling, most of the time the reply was, "Oh, our inventory is still stuck with us. Oh, we couldn't sell it. Oh, our collection was not approved so much. It was not being liked so much." So I started analyzing and observing that these fashion brands, what type of strategy they implement to figure out their niche, to figure out their market, to have the right branding strategy, to have right sales and marketing strategy. And I started writing it down. So at one point of time, I realized that I'm sitting on so much of data, so much of knowledge, that who got successful, who didn't get, what were the setbacks, what were the failures, what were the successes and all. And then I realized, I'm indirectly giving so much of advice and tips to these budding designers. Plus, now I also know that, what type of market strategy they approached, what type of USPs they approach, how they developed their KPIs and all, why they got could not sustain. Based on that, I started my own consultation company.
Mhm.
So I always give 100% credit to those calls and maintaining the close, good quality relationship with all my clients, so that it became the base of my knowledge.
Mhm.
So now, any designer, I sit with him just for 10 minutes, I'm able to observe, oh, this is the pain point she's not able to solve. Oh, why she's doing this, why she's not approaching the market like this. So, or why her supplier is not like, why she's approaching to supplier this way, why her production is so expensive, or why she is using this type of color palette for this type of market. Because, for around last 15 years, I'm having that buying house, so I'm in close connection with those designers. So
Right.
I always take leverage of my first company, Indibala, for my next company.
Mhm. That's amazing. I think two key insights that we can take away from this story that you just shared is one, to make those calls, very important, to stay connected and understand your target audience or the people that you're serving. And second is to identify the pain points, the real pain points, because sometimes we just miss out on very little details, specifically in fashion. Very little things that we miss out on might be the solution for our major problems. So thank you so much, Tina. I'm sure this story really will help our budding entrepreneurs to learn and grow their e-commerce brand. And for the listeners, thank you so much for being here with us. We'll be coming again with another podcast, maybe with Lena as well on another topic. Let us know what do you think about this podcast and the best takeaway from this podcast. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.